Maybe a CD. I'm sure a lot of you do. Do you need to be worried about the banking system at the moment?
Our Fox panel is back now to talk about it, including Nicole Ridgway from smartmoney.com. Now, Nicole, the head of the FDIC, is very careful with the words that she uses. She doesn't want to cause anybody to panic, certainly doesn't want to run on the bank. We already saw one in England. We don't want anything like that happening here. And to put it in perspective, the S&Ls, we had over 1,000 institutions closed down. We're nowhere near that right now.
Nowhere near that. And there are certain insurances put in place that'll make sure that, you know, the average person saving money in their account, they're not going to lose it. There's insurance in place.
Terry, she just stressed the average, which is great. Yeah. But you already saw a pricey fund that you need several million to be in at Citigroup, where some people were getting the call saying, sorry, you can't take your money out for 6 weeks. Then it became at least a couple of months.
Yeah, and this Citigroup situation is worrisome. I mean, this was the world's biggest bank. It had the investors, some of the best investors in the world, Eddie Lampert, Prince Al Walid, investing in it. Now, the sovereign funds of Abu Dhabi and Kuwait and the Prince saying they need more capital. I mean, this is a very serious situation. And I also think there's going to be massive layoffs at the bank. 300,000 people work at Citigroup, so it has huge ramifications for the rest of the economy as well.
It does.
Sure.
Peter?
Well, first of all, the banks are in some serious trouble because, you know, they're in the business not only of lending money but being paid back, and that's the important part of the whole deal there. You got to get paid back, and with these recovery rates as low as they are, they won't. But the losses, as far as bank failures, what the government is doing right now to prevent the failures, and they're still going to come, is inflicting real losses on depositors right now.
How?
Because the dollars that they have on deposit are losing value, and it doesn't matter if the bank fails and you have fewer dollars or you keep all your dollars, but it costs you twice as much to buy gasoline or to buy food because your money is losing purchasing power either way.
Gary Kalpom, when people call you up and say, buddy, listen, I know you're in on this money stuff, is my investment or my cash that I have parked in a CD or a money market, is that safe? What's your response to them?
I have actually had a few calls from people about money markets, and I tell them I've done my checking and don't think so. Now, look, as far as whether bank fails or not, I don't see it. You know, there's all this talk, and whenever things go south for any industry, somehow the people come out of the woodwork saying the end of the world is coming. That's usually overrated. There are definite issues out there. I think Countrywide was going to go bankrupt before Bank of America took over. I think there's going to be some casualties, but overall I think we'll be in fine shape, and we won't be laughing about it 10 years from now, but we'll be looking back on it, and I think everything will be A-okay when all's said and done.
Charles, the head of the FDIC, she was very assertive when she was here, suggesting that they have plenty of cash to back up any kind of bank failure, at least the kinds that they were expecting. Are they underestimating the degree to which our banking system's in trouble?
I don't think they are. I mean, really, she has been steadfast for a very long time, and despite the fact that, you know, these investment banks have lost all credibility because, in part, that I think initially they were sort of BSing the public, and then later on they couldn't figure it out themselves. So, yeah, there is a situation there, but let's not.
But Terry's suggesting Citi is now BSing the country in terms of what it has and what it doesn't.
I don't think Citi is going to go under. Now, listen, doesn't mean that these guys aren't going to pay a heavy price. Now, we've already seen over 200 mortgage lenders go out of business, and that was the epicenter of this whole thing. You know, but as far as these larger banks are concerned, I think we're going to be okay. But again, they're going to be fractured.
She should be ashamed to even show her face. I mean, where was
Sheila Baird.
Where was Sheila Baird when all these banks were writing these CDO squares and cubed and, you know, square roots of
even if Citigroup doesn't go bankrupt, shareholders in America who own the common stock are still going to be practically wiped out based on these sweetheart deals that they're cutting to, you know, like the Abu Dhabi, you know, a sovereign wealth fund. These guys are getting these fat coupons on their preferred shares. It doesn't matter to them what happens to the common.
If people bought Citibank the same time that the Saudi prince invested in it in 1991, they would have made a fortune. Yeah, any investor watching the show can join in. If they want to buy the stock,
Charles, listen, the Americans are buying the common. Right now, these guys are buying preferred.
Let me bring it back, Nicole Ridgway, let me bring it back to the original subject matter, and that is your money that's in some of these banks safe? I want to say something nice about Sheila Baird here. She was among the first to really start to say, you guys got to watch out about these subprime loans, and there's going to be a serious problem down the road. But now that we're here, should people be moving their money out, since you're there with smart money, should people be moving their money into things like municipal bonds and things like that that are just a little bit more safe, where the FDIC, you don't have to worry about whether they can cover you?
Well, the problem with the municipal bonds is because of the ratings on the bond insurers, there is some question about whether or not they're going to actually be able to get those great rates with those AAA ratings. So the muni bonds may not be the best place to go, but you know, keeping it in safe investments. The money markets are not going to give the great returns, but you know, they will be safe enough in them.
Well, Gary Kay, your excellent piece questioning whether Citi is as cheap as some people say it is right now. Do you think that folks who are invested in Citi are going to lose everything?
No, but I think it's definitely gone into the teens and maybe into single digits. That has happened before. You got to remember something. Markets trade based on earnings. There is a clear lack of earnings and a ton of losses out there, and I think there is more to come. And when you get into a bear market for a sector, which we are in for financials, I got to tell you, low is never low enough, and usually they take it to as far as it can.
By the way,
so I think there's more to go.
I just want to make sure I heard you right. You said single digits for Citi is a possibility?
Sure. Look, the stock was 55. Did you ever think it was going down to 22?
It's half the number it was a year ago. It's true. 120 billion in market cap it's lost.
Just remember, you know, there are no safe investments in the United States anymore.
Oh, come on,
no. Liz, the dollar is going down. There's no safety in a money market.
Then
if the
why do
dollar
you
is
live
losing
here?
value,
I mean, why?
Because I'm trying to help. You know. And I got
there it is.
But I don't keep my money here. I can still live here, but keep my money out of the dollar.
Okay.
That way I'm not suffering like everybody else.
All right. The Good Samaritan, Peter Schiff. Thanks very much. Well, that's hard to keep my...